Hello everyone, I'm making a recording using OBS to basically make a video about delivery companies and delivery drivers and why they irritate the crap out of me, okay? Because I'll tell you, when you do what I do and figure things out and know how transportation companies run things or should run things, 90% of them could be taken out of business really quick for these smaller companies. And I'm sick of it because every driver I talk to, they have no idea what I'm talking about. And it irritates me to no end. And the only reason why they continue to operate is because a lot of them operate in towns. Meaning, if you're in Las Vegas, they're going to operate in a town in Las Vegas, and they're not going to go to any scale houses or any DOT protocol things, and they're just going to go off and get a truck from Ryder or something like that. And they just pay a monthly fee to Ryder or whatever, and they get their maintenance taken care of. And we're going to talk about how irritating and how unresponsible that is, and why I feel very strongly about this. Okay? I feel very strongly about this for two reasons. There's our rules and regulations that aren't being properly followed for safety reasons, and we're going to go over those. Or what I believe to be rules and regulations, and why I believe that certain things should be done differently, or should be done the correct way versus the incorrect way. Yes, it does eat into your profits, but it's a safety concern situation. Okay? So let's talk about this, because I've seen it and seen it and seen it over and over again. Okay? The transport company that gets hired to transport something from Best Buy, let's say, for example, a dishwasher, a refrigerator, a appliance like a stove, washer and dryer. Okay? Let's say that you happen to be standing there talking to them, telling them where you want it, whatever, and they damage your wall, right? If they're doing this in the proper way, their liability would cover it. So that's kind of why I'm frustrated, because if they're not running their company right with, DOT permits and US DOT regulations and all this stuff, one, it's a safety concern. Two, because do they know how to operate the air pressure, the air brakes on the truck? Do they have a CDL, which is the proper truck for doing it commercially on a regular basis? Is that truck registered to them? Do they have the proper insurance? Do they have the proper liability insurance for going into somebody's household? If they get hit by if they hit a car on the highway, do they have the proper insurance for their company, even though they're using a Ryder or Enterprise or Penske truck? There's still a level of liability there. The only way these companies are not really being operated, because they don't have liability. A lot of them probably don't have the right kind of liability. I swear to God, I could probably make a lot of these guys disappear. And when you ask the drivers, they don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm not saying about the liability in situations, But when you're told one thing by somebody and they say another thing, are they being properly trained, or are they just hired from willy-nilly off the street from a Google ad or a Facebook ad or something like that? Now, the reason why I'm so kind of anal about this is that 90% of them don't know what they're talking about. The guy that was in our neighborhood didn't even know what the fuck they were talking about. And 90% of these people don't even know what they're doing. I see people, lawn guys, breaking technically regulations. I see leaving lawn, limbs and different things on the property. Yeah, I get it that they're leaving the stuff there temporarily or whatnot, but they're not leaving them in a secure location, in a secure spot like you're supposed to. It just surprises the crap out of me. And a lot of these guys, what ends up happening is they end up getting an injury. They end up going to court. The other person ends up winning. And you don't have any liability to show for it. Now, granted, I know workarounds, and I know that there are workarounds, and I know what they can do to get workarounds. But none of these guys are at the level where workarounds are acceptable. And may I add that we live in Florida, Orlando, Florida right now. And 90% of these guys do not speak good English at all. If you ask them, they'll say a little bit. Okay? DOT says you have to read and understand English. It says right in the book. You have to read and understand English and be able to articulate problems and things that may arise. Oh, it irritates the crap out of me. And out of, let's say, 5 delivery people, one of them knew what they were doing. Or at least hide what they were doing. I had one guy that didn't even put it in, installed it, and did all that stuff. And we had to have a guy come back because the guy that originally installed it didn't do something properly. And we thought it was broken. Because the guy didn't install something properly. I'm just irritated. I see this all the time. And it always seems to be that they are in renter trucks, Penske, Ryder, Enterprise, you name it, they're in the truck. The only thing I haven't seen show up yet is a U-Haul truck. Usually it's the large 43 foot with a lift gate. And like Best Buy and these bigger companies that are paying for these transporters, why aren't they checking the DOT status, the business license status, things like that? Like, if they're transporting for a certain company, that company has a liability aspect to it too. And I'm not even going to start saying about how things don't probably get tied down properly. And how refusals happen. I could just do this all day long. It irritates the shit out of me. So I had to rant and get it over with because it bothers me. Because let's say I'm a driver on the interstate. They hit me, right? If they're driving a company with the Ryder truck, who takes responsibility for that action? If Ryder finds out that you're using it for commercial usage, you're not under the right contract with them, and they're not going to cover liability, a lot of them. So that irritates me to no end. And I believe DOT needs to crack down. Big time. Big time. And 90% of these trucks don't have DOT numbers on the side of them. Yes, every truck has to have a US DOT number on a side of a truck. This truck didn't even have the proper license plate. Didn't even have a commercial license plate. Which there are ways to get around it, but the only way to get around it is if you're the owner and you're the only one operating that truck. Let's say I have a school bus that I've turned into a mobile studio, right? I can have a regular driver's license as long as it's under 25 passenger or under 26,000 pounds, right? And as long as I am the only driver of that vehicle. Or I can add more people, but I add them as a partner as the company, not as an employee. If I have anything higher than 5 employees, I need to up my insurance, and I need to get their driver's license record from the Department of Motor Vehicles for each person I hire. And have a certain level of commercial insurance. So, rant over. I'm sorry, guys, but I see this day in and day out for these transport companies, and like the one guy I asked today, I asked him for a business card so I could follow up with their company, right? Oh, we don't carry those. We don't have those. What company doesn't have a business card? I'm sorry. I'm just irritated. And they didn't even want to give me the name of their supervisor. I could tear these companies down left and right if I wanted to. And I do, but I don't do it because my mom doesn't like it when I do it, and it's her house, and I could make a big stink about this whole thing and call Best Buy and call this and call that, but I could call the CEO of Best Buy, and a lot of these companies that transport for these guys would disappear. Because they would stop losing operational businesses and things like that. It would just happen. Okay, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm sorry about ranting about this kind of stuff, but it does bother me. Because one of my bus drivers' sons were killed because of a person that actually had a DOT license, was running 2 logbooks, and was killed because the guy ran into the family, and killed their son because their son was sitting on the passenger side in the back seat, I believe. And that's where the truck hit. and I see accidents with commercial vehicles every day. Luckily now it's harder to cheat logs, but still, not having the proper insurance in case of an accident could get you in a lot of trouble, one, and could also get your business shut down. So, you're better off going to a company like uship.com and hiring a guy off of there than hiring a lot of these transport companies from these big corporations like Best Buy, Rent-A-Center. Well, Rent-A-Center has their own trucks, so Rent-A-Center doesn't apply, but a lot of these companies, they don't have their own trucks. Any of these that don't have their own trucks or outsource truck delivery, like Office Depot, Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those companies, not the company itself, but the company that transports for them, I could make about 90% of them disappear. Okay, guys, have a good night. Bye-bye.